Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joseph Sangle, and I'm fired up to help you live a fully funded life. We do that in one way by offering tips every Monday morning so that you can apply it through the week and step by step go up that ladder to the journey to a fully funded life. Today, we are at episode number
120.
Number 120. That's right. And that is the voice of Megan Hibbard, my co-host for this great podcast.
Hello.
And how are you doing today? Are you fired up?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Monday? Is it a Monday, or is it like Monday, let's go?
Maybe the latter, but I don't know if I'm excited about it. But
I'm very fired
good.
up.
Yeah. Happy Monday.
It's happy
a great
Monday.
day.
Well, if you're way up north, fall's kind of waning. We're right in the middle of it in South Carolina. Very nice. All the leaves. Pretty. Up north, the leaves are starting to leave rapidly. The leaves are leaving.
And they got some snow.
I think that's kind of funny. The leaves are leaving. Do you get it? Maybe that's why they called them leaves.
It was punny.
They're leaves. It's very punny. Okay, so get us out of this. Tell everybody what we're going to talk about this week.
Yes. So our question for today is, I hear you talk a lot about the importance of saving for known upcoming non-monthly expenses. Can you spend some time talking about how to save for these?
Yes. Known upcoming, and the key word is non-monthly. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But before we do, let's talk about the featured resource for the month of October.
This month, our featured resource is our Oxen online study. So you have huge hopes and dreams for your life. Unfortunately, most of them will cost so much they may appear almost unachievable. If you're doing everything possible to win with your money but feel like you're spinning your wheels financially, this is the study for you. In Oxen, the Key to an Abundant Harvest online study, Joe shares principles that will help you maximize your financial resources so you can experience an abundant harvest and fund your biggest dreams. Your dreams are huge and they can be funded. With this 6-session online study will help you do it. So this month, for a limited time, get this online study for only $20. Visit iwbnin.com/help to learn more.
Yes, and I encourage you to do that. If you're ready for your money to start making money for you, that is the study for you. And the key is it's online.
Yes.
Super excited about that. Now, let's go to one of my favorite sections of the podcast. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast, This portion of the podcast is brought to you by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. Take your finances to the next level by utilizing our financial tools and calculators. Visit iwbnin.com, click on tools, budget templates, debt freedom date calculators, retirement calculators, investment calculators. They're all right there at your fingertips, and they're all free.
Yes, and for today's current money event section, I'm talking about the presidential election and its impact on your money.
Bum, bum, bum.
Somebody's going to be elected shortly. Did you know that?
Up.
Yeah.
Just do it.
About 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow. We're going to elect a president in the United States. We may re-elect. We may elect a new one. Who knows? But here's what I want everybody to know. It absolutely has impact on your money. Now, I've always said, maybe not on this podcast, but I've said regularly in certain circles that the president is not the most powerful person as it relates to your money. It is the Federal Reserve Chairman. Currently is Jerome Powell. And prior to that was Janet Yellen. Prior to that was Ben Bernanke. And prior to that was Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan, still around. Is quite the economic person. All of them are fantastic, and they can beat me with their brain tied behind their back. They're so smart.
The things that occupy your mind are
Yes,
crazy.
it's unbelievable. But the presidential election absolutely has an impact on your money. Think about this. During the course of the Trump administration, there has been a tax cut that has been administered that the average person, 88% of Americans have seen a reduction of their tax bill. The average tax reduction has been over 6%. Yeah. That's happened. However, at the same time, our national debt has also went up at record levels. I wonder if there's a correlation. Not always, because there's been other times in which taxes went up and our debt went up. It seems like the debt always goes up, just sometimes some of the money doesn't come back. And there's also changes that happen to law. For example, in the tax change, it put a cap on how much you can deduct from your state and local taxes and your property taxes. Yep. This so-called SALT reduction is a massive deal for people in high-cost neighborhoods, such as San Diego, Seattle, Boston, New York, New Jersey. And so there's a cap of $10,000, and many people have to pay $20,000 or $30,000 of property taxes a year. And now it's limited on what they can deduct from their taxes at $10,000. It's very punitive. And so it's important for you to pay attention to this because campaigns are run and people are elected based upon their platform. Now, some of us would say we vote based on personality, how we've connected with them personally, how much we feel they'll impact us personally. But when you really look at it and you really understand the voter dynamics, we really are looking at the platform. What are they saying they're going to do? And we all know that there's big promises that won't necessarily be kept. But we also understand there are things that they say, and they say them often enough that we really believe, hey, that's going to be a part of the platform. And hey, we're going to send you to Washington to do just that, whatever that is. And they use that as a mandate from the people. It is a representative government. And they use that as a mandate to get their agenda pushed through. And so I want everybody to understand that if you have the right to vote, you should vote. And I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. And I'm not going to tell you that money is the only thing you should vote for. You should absolutely not just vote because of the impact on your money. It should be one of the things. I can tell you I love talking about this topic of money. I love helping you win with your money, but it's not the only thing I vote on. How about you? No, I vote on many other things, things that are important to me, things that I value. And so I want you to list the things that are important to you, and then look at the candidates and choose the ones that you feel like will help move towards those initiatives. But make sure money is one of them, because the nation is in debt substantially. And we've talked about that before here with the national debt, and I've kind of lost my mind at times over those, and we've deleted those episodes, or Megan has them to hold against me one day. But here's what I want you to know is these policies affect your finances. Go find out what their platforms are, and then let that be one of the things that helps you make your decision. And then you get to go into the voter booth. You get to fill out that ballot. And only you have to know who you voted for unless you decide to share it. And that's the beauty of elections is your voice counts. And if you think your one don't count, just remember hanging chads in the Florida election. And that ended up determining between Al Gore and George W. Pretty amazing. Yeah. So your vote, yes, it counts. Go vote.
Yeah. And just because somebody doesn't share your same opinion about who they're voting for does not mean that you should write them off. That drives me crazy.
Absolutely.
Just a little tip for love your neighbor.
Yeah.
It's not about who they're voting for or they voted for this person. So, we need more unity in the world. So let's just unify over the fact that we're here and we're children of God, and that should be enough for us, right?
I love it. Yes, absolutely. Yay, team.
Yes, yay, team. Okay, so for our success story today, it comes from Julie, and Julie shares, my biggest win has been budgeting to predetermine where my money is going in advance, rather than my warped concept of budgeting in the past, which was keeping track of where my money went. So thank you for renewing my perspective on budgeting and giving me a kickstart on my journey to financial freedom and living a fully funded life.
Well, thank you, Julie, for sharing that. I think this is really interesting. So she shares that she had a warped concept. I wouldn't call it warped, or you wouldn't call it warped, in keeping with what you said. We're friendly. We would say it was just a mistaken concept, or maybe there's a better way to view it. And she lists it, and that is she was documenting where her money had went. And when you just keep track of where your money went, you keep really good records of where your money went, you reconcile your bank accounts. What that is doing is documenting your financial history. You're a good documenter of history. That's what you are. You're documenting history. And budgeting is predetermining where your money will go in the future, so that when you document the history, you can agree and say, man, I'm so glad that happened. It worked out like I planned. It turns out, when you intentionally plan your dollars with a budget, that there's a much greater likelihood that when you review and document where it went, you'll be much more pleased with your financial behavior. Yep. And so that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Julie, and happy budgeting to you.
Yep. Okay, so our question for today is, I hear you talk a lot about the importance of saving for known, upcoming, non-monthly expenses. Can you spend some time talking about how you save for these?
Yes, I can. Known, upcoming, non-monthly expenses. Now, we call them Q expenses, KUE, known upcoming expenses, but we stick in that little word non-monthly because I think it's important because we save for known upcoming monthly expenses all the time, right? We save and pay for them. The utility bill showed up, we paid for it this month, every month.
Yeah.
If our insurance is monthly, for car insurance, we pay it monthly. Gasoline, food, stuff, it's monthly. It's known upcoming expenses. But we throw in non-monthly because those ones that kind of sneak up, they show up in clumps and they can blow up a budget.
They get you.
Things like Christmas, things like vacation, things like property taxes, quarterly or annual insurance bills. Those things sneak up on you. Can we say back to school expenses or that summer camp, whatever it might be. And so everybody has to save for three things. We're just to remind everybody, you got to save for emergencies. That's rung 2 and rung 5 of the ladder. And that's starting with 1 month's worth of expenses. It's unplanned, unexpected emergencies. And then rung 5 is, a minimum of 3 months worth of those expenses. The second thing you should save for, in addition to the unplanned, unexpected emergencies, is the known upcoming non-monthly expenses, which we're going to focus on today. And the third thing is your dreams. And we want to make sure you're making progress towards your dreams. So I don't know too many people who say, saving up for my annual insurance premium is a dream. But,
Maybe.
I want to make sure your dreams from rung 1 of the ladder, goals,
Yeah.
setting goals, is included. Now, of these three, it seems like saving for this second one, known upcoming non-monthly expenses, is the most difficult, and it creates the most issues with your budget. And here's why they create budgeting difficulty. Number one, they're not monthly.
You forget about them.
Yeah.
They're not on the forefront of your mind when you're creating that budget.
And when they show up,
Yeah.
they bring their first cousins. They drag expenses with them. I don't know
They
why it is.
come in threes.
Like you wouldn't, if you're an insurance company that got somebody on a quarterly or a semi-annual payment or an annual payment, wouldn't December be the last month you want somebody to owe that? Or January after people are paying back their Christmas? Like I'd want it to be anything other than those 2 months.
Yeah.
And the second reason why they're difficult is why?
Another reason is they're usually larger expenses. So property taxes, insurance premiums, Christmas, can we say Christmas coming up, vacation, car maintenance, repairs, insurance deductibles. They usually have a larger price tag than a typical monthly expense.
And so this is something that it's just a pet peeve. Can I have a single rant for a minute?
Go for it.
So many people will tell me that they had to use their emergency fund because their car broke down. But if you really stop and think about it, is it a surprise to you? Is it really unexpected that at some point in time your car will break down? I mean, there are car repair places on every block in nearly every town in the world.
It's true.
Cars break down. I don't care how nice your car is, it's going to break down. It's going to have an issue. And so I think one of the magic moments that happened in my improvement of my finances and my budgeting is when I recognized that car repairs and maintenance were just a known upcoming non-monthly expense.
Right.
Now, I can't put the label on water pump because I didn't know the water pump was going to fail, but I knew something was going to fail.
Yeah.
I can't put in there the alternator was going to die or the bearing was going to go bad on a tire or the brakes would have to be replaced prematurely. I don't know any of that. But what I do know is every time I drive, a little bit of the rubber comes off my tires. Every time I drive, I do use the brakes. They're wearing out a little bit. I do use the oil. It gets a little more cruddy. That's a technical term. And I'm going to have an oil change, And so I encourage you to include these things that you really looking ahead, you would say, that is a known upcoming expense. Let me give you a couple others. A new appliance. Are you wanting to replace your refrigerator in a year or two? Do you think that your hot water heater might go out? Do you think that you might have to replace a dishwasher? Think about this stuff. Do you have a major home repair that you need to do? Whatever it might be, it's a known upcoming but non-monthly expense. And the third reason why it's difficult to budget for them is what?
So we don't save for the expenses monthly. So
That's right.
We wait until the bill arrives, and then we're forced to scramble in an attempt to pay for it. And
Yes.
a lot of times it equals a little bit / a lot more debt.
That's right. And a lot of times we can put off some things, right? I can put off a minor repair on the car. It's just squeaking, the brakes scream. But eventually it becomes unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then we don't have the money saved for it. We didn't have enough time to save for it because we did not save for them every single month. So here's some things I've learned that can help you save for these known upcoming non-monthly expenses that will help you greatly. They have helped me huge. So the first thing that happens is I have my mind attuned to the thing that anytime I learn about a new upcoming expense, I begin saving for it. For example, in the fall, right, at school, when I hear about an upcoming summer camp that we think one of our kids is going to go to, and we start agreeing, hey, you know what, that's really good for them. I think that's going to be really good. Like Boy Scout camp. My boy's moving to Boy Scouts in January. He's finishing up Cub Scouts. He's an Arrow of Light. He finished Weeblo last year, and he was a wolf, and he was a bear, and he was a tiger. Now he's going to the Boy Scouts. And we're going to send him Boy Scout camp. That's going to cost money. So we have built it in and started saving for it, right? And so time, Time, is our greatest friend in these situations. Because the longer, Megan, you have to save for something, the easier it is.
Yeah, we actually just had the conversation this morning about, hey, our car's getting to the point. Do we want to sell it? We want to save. Okay, we're going to keep it for a few more years. Okay, so we need to start seriously saving for that expense.
Oh.
Because it's going to come up.
So it's a big expense.
Yeah.
And is your goal to pay cash for the next car?
Yes.
Okay. So think about that. You know, Megan and Jordan want to pay cash for the car. So they've probably got their eyes on a type of car that they're kind of thinking about.
Depends on which one of us you ask.
Okay, yep. But they both have their eyes on two different cars. And you can go to Kelley Blue Book, kind of find out how much that is. It's probably going to be a used car.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you divide it by the number of months you think until you want to replace it. Maybe it's 24. But look, whatever the number is, let's say the number's $20,000. And you say, I've got 20 months to save for it. Well, that's $1,000 a month. When you're like, you know, maybe we could need 40 months. Well, that's $500 a month. Well, it's much easier to save $500 a month than $1,000 a month. I'm not saying it's easy to save $500 a month. I'm just saying, do you notice that when you increase the denominator, the amount of time you have, the less you have to save per month?
Yeah.
So the farther ahead you project and start saving now, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is a very large expense, I will say, but like, we know our car is getting to a certain number of miles.
What is that certain number for you guys?
It's just hit like 150,000.
Okay.
So it's at the point.
Is it a Honda?
It's a Honda. It can
It's barely
go
broken.
forever. And so it's just kind of the question, do we want to ride it till it dies, or do we want to sell it to make some money to buy another one? And so you know there's these moments where, okay, your car hits a certain number of miles, or you've had your refrigerator for 20 years. Yeah, it's probably going to die soon. Or, you know, there's these moments that you know, okay, these things are happening. There might be a larger expense. I need to prepare. Key.
Okay, so that's so huge. So time matters. So being aware, so we've really said awareness.
Right.
Hey, this thing's coming. I have this much time. And then starting to save immediately. Even if it's less than you want to per month, but making it force its way into your budget, finding a way for your budget still equal exactly zero, and you're saving for it every month.
Right.
And putting that money away gives you this confidence. I can't really describe it. I don't know if you can really describe it, but it's certainly great to know, hey, that, I call them honey pots. Those honey pots are getting filled up, and it is so sweet.
Yeah.
Right?
For me, it makes it hard to spend that because it is filling up.
Yes, that's right. And then regardless of the items that do appear through the year and are added to my known upcoming non-monthly expenses calculator and savings through the year, I take some time at the end of each year, every year, to really think through what's coming our way. You know, Christmas has happened. Now we've got that lull. You know, one of the things we do here at I Was Broke Now I'm Not is we kick everybody out between Christmas and New Year's. No one really complains about that ever. We force them to take that week off for vacation. And we also let them have all their other vacation. But the reason I did it is I'm selfish. I don't want to be bothered by any of them during that time. No, but really, I think it's a great time for reflection for everybody. And it's a good time for our team to be able to rest. We usually hammer it leading into the holidays. And so it allows us to rest and the team to rest and start off the new year. And as I sit down after Christmas, after the kids have gotten all their gifts, everything's been fun, you know, for the next few days, man, those can like go by in a blur with all the football and all that stuff. Or you can take some intentional time to start looking to the new year, getting vision for the new year, and start saying, hey, what are the things that we need to start thinking of? And I like it because it feels, and feelings matter here, it feels a lot more strategic. And it helps me maintain high levels of financial confidence. Like, do you guys have a set time that you go look at these, or is it just kind of an ongoing conversation?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have markers where we sit down, but we do take that time at the end of the year to, like, before the new year hits. It's usually a day or two before, and we sit down and we really dive into all of these things and all of the money issues and all talking about hopes and dreams and plans and this year, what it holds. And, it's that time that we know, okay, the last, 4 or 5 years we've done this, and it's kind of a marker where we can say, like, this is what happened this year. As wild as it may be, it happened, and this is what we want to happen next year, our plans, our hopes, our dreams, finances. How do we want to adjust investments? How do we want to adjust this, budgets, that kind of stuff. So it's really a time when you can mark that in your brain of, okay, we're getting ready to start a new year. A lot of people are, oh gosh, I may have overspent on money. It's just a season where more people are willing to take the time to think money thoughts and have money discussions. And so it's just a great time for you to just know that marker in your head. Okay, this is when we're going to dive into all of these things.
And it's very affirming when you see yourself that you've made progress. Who knew that in a pandemic year, when things just went really crazy, that, you scale back your work schedule, about in half because of the arrival of your son, that you could actually make financial progress by, purchasing the home that's what's next for you, being able to sell your home, being able to have a different space in place that works better for you, allows you to work better from home. Right? Who knew you could make progress? Well, the reason that Megan and Jordan made progress is because they've been intentional and they've been focusing on it. And I think that's something that I look back every single year and I see progress. And I think it's surprising, but it's also not surprising because we're intentional about it. And one of the ways that we stay intentional is we use the Q calculator. It's on our website at iwasbrokenowimnot.com under tools, under saving. And it's called the Known Upcoming Expenses Calculator. And, we put in all the numbers and maybe we add up vacation, Christmas, property taxes, car repairs and maintenance, summer camp, and the annual YMCA membership bill. And it's $6,000. Well, we get paid monthly, and it calculates if you're paid monthly, every 2 weeks, twice a month, or weekly. And it says save this much every paycheck. So if it's $6,000, you divide it by 12, that's $500. And the good news is the calculator divides it for you. And then we save that money. And one of the big questions we receive all the time is, where do we put all this money that we're saving? And so this is where we really like online banks. So name some of the banks that we list under the banking section of our website.
So we talk a lot about Marcus. We talk a lot about Ally, Discover. Those are some of our top ones that we highly recommend.
Yeah. And I love these because they allow you to have things called, number one, they pay 0.6% interest, yay. But it's way better than your local big bank who's paying none interest. None interest. Some is more than none.
None interest.
And so none interest is not good. So you get some money for your money, but they also allow something called named sub-accounts, which I really love. Yes. Let me explain this. What it really does is allows you to separate your Q savings into different named piles. So think of it as if you had withdrawn all of your savings into cash and had it sitting in front of you. You're sitting there at the kitchen table, all the windows drawn, right? And saying, hey, I'm going to divide up all this money into stacks. So you had a note card there, and this one said emergency fund. This one said new car fund, annual YMCA membership, Christmas, vacation, whatever it might be. Yeah. Car repairs, maintenance. And then you'd literally take your cash and put it in the different piles. This is nothing different in your online bank account, except for it's done digitally. Now, of course, you could indeed pull this Q money out in cash every time you're paid and put it in envelopes or jars or containers labeled with each particular Q item. However, I don't want that cash laying around my house because I'm a spender. It could get gone or it could get stolen or whatever. But it is really nice to be able to log into my online bank and see the different accounts listed there. And I know exactly what every dollar is there for. Instead of just available balance and a big number, it allows me to see every single dollar with a name next to it: emergency fund, car repairs, maintenance. I hope that makes sense. And there's another way to do this if you don't like the online bank thing, is to have all of the money in a single bank savings account and keep a ledger that outlines the purpose of each dollar. And we have a free tool on the website that does this for you in a spreadsheet. We call it the Savings Account Balance Tracking Spreadsheet. And it's available at iwbni.com. Just click on Tools and Saving, and you'll be able to see that. And I really think that's really important for people to do, one or the other. You want to give a name to every dollar, because in the heat of the moment of wanting to, especially if you're a spender, you'll look in that balance, you'll see available balance, you won't remember all the thing it's there for, and you'll accidentally spend it. Yeah. Then the bill will show up for the thing that you forgot you were saving for, and you will be greatly regretful. So I hope that helps inspire you, number one, to save for your KUEs and plan for them so that you can predict them, save for them, so that when the thing shows up, you can just pay cash for them and it's set it, forget it, off you go to the next thing.
Yeah. I will say if you're just starting out budgeting, it's easy to forget expenses. So give yourself grace, write it down, put it in the budget. And that's the advantage of you get a 6 months, a year, 2 years into this, you're able to look back and see, oh yeah, I need to pay this bill that time. So you're a lot less likely to forget those expenses. But in the beginning, give yourself grace. We usually say it takes 3 to 4 months for you to remember everything that and to make your budget work for you and make adjustments and that kind of stuff. So just know if you forget something in the beginning, it's okay. Shuffle some things around. Don't acquire new debt. But just know, okay, I'm remembering it. I'm putting it in there. It's in my budget now. So that when it comes next quarter or next year, I'm more likely to remember it because it's in the budget already.
And I've budgeted now for 206 consecutive months. So I have all that history.
Yeah.
So I have great confidence. Things aren't sneaking up on me. If you've budgeted for 1 month or none months and you get started, save every one. Mm-hmm. And as Megan just said, you learn from them. And then you won't be surprised by that one anymore.
Right.
And that leads us to our quote for today. It's one of my quotes, so share it with them.
Yes.
And I'll give the single angle real quick.
Okay. When you say that word. I can't say it.
She's cracked up. You have to say it. I'm going to make you say it.
When you diligently focus on saving for the known, I'm going to butcher this. When you diligently focus on saving for the known, even many of the unknowns will become known.
Yes. Give her a round of
Third
applause,
time's
everybody.
a
I think it's
charm.
hilarious. Thanks for embracing it. But when you do diligently focus on saving for the known, even many of the unknown will become known. And that's really what I was just saying, is all of a sudden you'll save money for the unknown things because you will have made savings your habit. And those individuals have supreme financial confidence. They are the ones who get to take advantage of the extraordinary opportunities. Even though they're right in front of you, if you're not saving, you're not made it your habit, you won't even see them. But those who even plan for the unknown, they are the ones that are able to pounce on opportunity like a puma.
All right. Our next episode, we're going to talk about how the debt snowball works. So a large portion of Americans are carrying debt. Could be credit card debt, car debt, furniture debt, student loans, you name it. So when it comes to paying off these debts, what's the best method? In our next episode, we'll show you exactly how the debt snowball method works and explain how you can use it to pay off your debt.
It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people focused on paying off debt these days. And if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to other people who could benefit. You can do this by quickly rating our podcast and leaving a review. These ratings and reviews help us make our podcast better, help others discover it. If you've implemented one of our tips and you've achieved success, share that story with us by emailing it to info@iwbnin.com or messaging it to us on one of our social media outlets. Who knows? Your success story may be featured on an upcoming episode of the Monday Money Tip podcast. As we close it out today, I want you to know this. The election is 2 weeks away. Make sure that you register to vote. Make sure you do vote. And we will see how it affects our money over the next 4 years. Have a great week. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.